Hey, what's going on, everybody? Joe 690 ADV. Hopefully you had a really good week. It is, well, it's kind of gray and a little bit, we got some weather coming in. So riding's going to be off until at least Saturday, probably Sunday. But anyway, hey, Honda, there's a lot of buzz going around right now for those 300s. And for good reason, but there's one bike I just don't think is getting quite the recognition that it should be getting. And what bike is that? Yeah, well, we're going to talk about it next. Hey, what is up? What's going on, everybody? Hopefully, as I always say, good week. Appreciate you stopping in. Thank you for being part of the Friday video. And thank you to everybody that checked out Friday's video of our Big Bend trip. We had an absolute blast on that trip. It's so much fun. So if you've never been on a motorcycle, dual sport type adventure type trip, hopefully that helped you a little bit. And we've got more of those coming. I have literally hours and hours and hours of trips I've done over the past 12 years that I have not posted. I just have all that video, which I'm going to work on that and try to get it out to you guys. If you'd like to see it, let me know down below in the comments if you'd like that, or send me an email and say, hey, you know what, Joe? Make some dual sport videos of some of your past rides, and I'll see if I can't fast track that for you. First thing I'd like to do is give a huge shout out to my wonderful wife. Our anniversary, 21 years. Thank you so much for putting up for me, and I love you more than anything that is out there on the planet. First things first, subscribe button, thumbs up. Don't forget about our store, please. Help us out. It really does. It's not much, but it does help us out a little bit. And don't forget about our website, www.690adv.com. And we've got new swag. It's on there too. We have our swag store, and if you're looking for any cool like apparel or something like that, that helps us out a little bit too, and we do appreciate you. On to tonight's video. I said that there's one bike that I felt just hasn't been getting quite the kudo or the love that it really probably should be getting, to be honest with you. And especially if you're a new rider, or really kind of any rider, looking to maybe get a new dual sport bike. Well, Honda brought us that whole new lineup of the 300s, and the Rally is the bike that I'm talking about. I don't think that it got quite the recognition that it should have gotten. Now, granted, some people will probably disagree with me, and they'll say, well, it got just as much as the 300L. Well, I disagree with that. I don't think that it got quite as much. And in all honesty, I'm not going to say it's better than the 300L or the KLX 300, but what I am saying is for what that bike is, it's really pretty fantastic. Now, that bike right there, it's really, like I said, going to be for a lot of riders, especially new riders. It's going to be a good bike because it's very smooth, it's got plenty of power, and it's going to do a lot of the business that you want to do if you want to get out and dual sport ride. So the first thing that I like about the bike that is different than all the other bikes, the look of it. I mean, in all honesty, if you look on screen, it's unique. It's a very, very cool looking bike. And why? Well, it's built after that Dakar rally bike that they take to Dakar every year, and it looks very similar to that bike. Now, is it a Dakar rally bike? No, it's not, but it certainly looks like one, and it is kind of cool. So if you want something that's got like a really cool look to it, that 300 Rally from Honda is really got a super, super cool look. I just think that it separates it from those other two 300 motorcycles. Now, the fuel capacity on that bike, it's better than both the 300L and it's better than the KLX 300. At 3.4 gallons, that's pretty good for a standard tank on a bike of that size, because remember, it is a mid-size dual sport motorcycle. Now, Honda is known for MPGs and squeezing out the basic sip factor for fuel. Now, my Honda 250L over there gets about 65 miles to the gallon. So I would be shocked if it doesn't get quite that. Now they're claiming 76 miles to the gallon. I wouldn't hold my breath on that, but I will bet you it's going to get very, very close to that 65 mark, and that's really good because on a fill up at 65 miles to the gallon is over 221 miles. That is pretty amazing, and you can cover some serious ground with that right there on only 3.4 gallons. Now, ground clearance. I'm sure I'm going to catch some flack with this with some of the guys that are out there. At 10.9 inches, perfect. I don't care what you say. There's nothing that you can do to convince me. I've been dual sporting for a really long time. These bikes, dual sport bikes, are not enduro race bikes, okay? So keep that in mind. And at 10.9 inches, that's plenty of clearance. You're going to be able to get over just about anything from ruts to small logs in the trails, rocks, rutted out, washboards, all that stuff. And that's really, really pretty good. That's perfect. And it's good for on-road, but it's really going to be good for when you want to get off the beaten path and actually go and see that off-road stuff. And guess what? That's pretty darn close with almost all dual sport bikes on the market today. Look it up. Now, seat height. That might be a little bit of an issue for new riders and short riders, but at the end of the day, always remember that no matter what you get, don't buy a bike because of its seat height. Buy a bike because it's what you're looking for and what you want to do. They have to raise those bikes up because they are off-road oriented. Now, at 35-inch seat height, I get it. There's a lot of guys, I got to get my feet on the ground. I understand that. A lot of people feel that way. Now, here's the deal. Lower it. Use a lowering link or a bone link. Yeah, all bikes can be lowered. I don't care what bike it is. You can drop basically you can drop the height of that bike if you want to. But keep in mind, anytime that you drop a motorcycle, you can change the ergonomics of that bike. Make sure that you drop your front end properly if you do lower that bike. But with it being like that, it's really not that big of a deal at 35-inch seat height. And not only that, Honda, now my seat is actually, I've got a seat comfort, but their bikes are pretty notorious for being pretty darn comfortable straight out of the factory. So you may not even have to get a new seat for the comfiness of that motorcycle. Now, windscreen. That's the one thing I really truly like about that bike. I love the windscreen. It's good and tall. It gets up over basically the front of your windshield, of your mask, of your basically helmet. And the beauty part is that windscreen is set in a high position, which is really nice because what does that do? If you're new to riding, or if you are a seasoned rider, you all know automatically that gets the buffeting off. That's the jerking of the head when you're riding down the road and that wind's catching you. Over time and throughout the day, you will get a sore neck with a short windscreen. Now, that's only usually on highway travel. If you're off-road, it's usually not a big deal, but that is nice on that Honda 300 Rally. Now, you know I love tires. I talk about tires, and I love the 21-inch and 18-inch tire size. Why? Because the choices are ridiculous. You can get all flavors of tires in the 2118 because it's a motocross setup, or it's right at a motocross setup. Now they have the 19-inch rear ends now, but a 2118, you can get anything. All the way from 70-30s to 50-50s to full-blown just off-roads. And not only that, it's really, really nice. And with the 2118, that bike was thought about in the dirt before the road. Even though it's more road oriented, it's definitely set up for some off-road riding. Now, the weight. Here's where I know I'm going to catch a little flack from some of you guys. You're going to say at 330 pounds, it's a big giant pig. Is it? Or is it really kind of almost a little bit smart? Anybody that's been dual sporting for a long time, and I have, you need a little weight. And the reason you need a little weight is because that bike, if it's too light on the highway when you're actually traveling in traffic, what happens is any crosswind or traffic wind can make that bike swerve. Now, you can get front end wobble if the bike's too light. A lot of KTM guys talk about the 690 having basically the big heavy front end wobble or the death wobble. I have a steering stabilizer on my KTM, helps tremendously. Now, you can put those on any bike, but with it being 330 pounds, that helps out a lot on that bike when you're on the road. And it's really not that heavy off-road, to be quite honest with you. This is not an enduro bike, so don't treat it like one and quit bashing saying that it's a big fat pig. It is a little heavy, but it will do the business. Make no mistake about it. It's always the rider, not the bike. Aftermarket parts. It's Honda. You can get tons of them. So if you're a new rider and you're thinking about this 300 Rally, kudos to you, because that bike is going to be perfect for you. It's going to be a great bike for just local commuting, highway travel, trail riding, off-road riding, plenty of power. It's going to do everything you need it to do. And you can deck it out any way you want to. Anywhere from skid plates, crash guards, new bark busters, tail boxes, tail plates, panniers, pannier boxes, rotopack system setups. I mean, pretty much everything. Really, your mind is the only thing that's going to separate you from basically how you want to deck this bike out. And you can make it look super fantastic and super cool. Now, one thing that I love about this bike, the cost. In all honesty, if you're a new rider or you're getting in and you're thinking about another bike, at $6,000, give or take, you know, a few hundred here or there, depending on if you get the ABS or whatever you want to get on the bike, and an unlimited 1-year transferable warranty. What a deal. And it's a Honda. Do the math. That thing is going to be pretty much bulletproof. That engine is going to be fantastic. It's going to be very reliable. It's going to have long intervals on it, and it's going to be easy to work on. And again, it's a Honda. It's really, really going to be a great and fantastic motorcycle for all riders. Who's it perfect for? Anyone. It really is perfect for anyone. You know, there's going to be bashers out there and just tell me, oh, this and this and that and that and that. You don't get to the point. You don't do these things. But I feel that that 300 Rally could really be one of the perfect adventure traveling dual sport bikes on the market today. I think Honda nailed it, and I think it's really going to be, the sales will prove itself true. But anyway, what do you think about the Honda 300 Rally? I think it's really going to be a trendsetter, and if you want that different looking bike, it's really kind of perfect. Anyway, hey, I'm Joe, 690 ADV. Don't forget, man, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up in our store. We sure do appreciate it, and we appreciate you. Get out, find your adventure, and if you're looking for a new bike, maybe that 300 Rally is the bike for you. And at that cost, you're not going to break the bank. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Thank you so much for watching the video. And don't forget to check out our website, 690adv.com. And I'm Joe, 690, out.